Rebecca, just done your marathon on the
Yes.
weekend. You said you weren't going to do a marathon again.
Yes, I did say I wasn't.
What happened?
So I did my first marathon in November, and then I was like, well, I'm not really satisfied with this. I didn't really feel accomplished. And so I was just like, oh, next day, see what's going on, couldn't get into London. So I thought, well, Brighton's quite close to London. And actually Brighton's like quite close to my heart anyway. I used to live there, used to be really, really, really unfit, like to the point where I couldn't even run for about a minute when I lived there. Walking places, when I went back, it was just so different that it just felt like there was no time whatsoever between point A and point B. But when I lived there, I was out of breath.
Yeah.
And so to go back and actually run 26.2 miles through Brighton and get a much faster time, like shave so many minutes off, was just amazing. But I don't think I'm going to do another one.
I shall clip that and date that, and we shall see how well this clip ages. Show us the medal. Let's get it up there. Lovely, colourful medal.
It's a beautiful medal.
I said it looks like a little bit of a game that you've got on there, but there you go.
It does. It's a nice medal. I mean,
you've got every colour that you can imagine on
It's
there.
got braille on it, in case you can't see the colour.
Were there blind runners? I know sometimes they have blind runners with like a partner.
I didn't see anyone, but
Oh.
that's not to say there weren't. There were a lot of people in wheelchairs.
I was going to make a joke then saying they didn't either, but that's bad, isn't it?
Oh, but there were. Dear.
How did this start? But you did it. What was your time?
So the official time was 4:22:14.
4:22:14.
But the marathon course was longer than what my Garmin said. So my Garmin said that I ran it in 4 hours, 20 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay.
The marathon course, my Garmin said, was 42.55 kilometres, not 42.2. So
I'd be asking for a refund.
I know, exactly. Give me my 70 quid back.
So what was your time on the one you did? Where was the one you did in November again? That was the one you did
So that was Richmond,
in
Virginia.
America. Yeah. So what was your time on that one again?
That was 4:36.
Oh wow.
4:36 and
Is that official time or your time?
official time.
Official time. So 12 minutes.
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
good. 12 minutes in
40.
14. So you went from 23, or was it 4:22? Was it 4 hours 22 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 14 minutes. Sorry,
14
I thought you
minutes.
said 24. 14 minutes in 6 months.
Yeah, something like that.
That's really good.
Yeah, I think that was due to the lack of being actually able to go out and do running on hills.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not to say that treadmills don't have inclines, but I was not inclined to do an incline run in a very hot gym on a ship. So it was all about kind of balancing what was going to allow me to get the training runs in with what could actually be, sort of with the amount of energy mental energy I could put towards it.
Yeah.
I think that running around Plymouth has helped because it's, got its hills and
No
stuff.
flats.
No,
all
it's
up and
not really
down.
flat. Whereas Brighton is marketed as a flat. It's marketed as a flat marathon. It's not a flat marathon at all. It's not flat at all. In fact, there were several large hills.
Again, calls for a refund.
I think so. I think they need to
Too
look at
many
their
hills,
advertising.
longer than it was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So someone doesn't just get into running marathons then. Okay. So take us. How old are you again now?
So I'm 35 now.
35 now. Looking 17.
Thank you very much.
Take us back early days of your health and fitness, your training, when you kind of started building into it. Because I remember we spoke about the other day, like when you were in your mid-20s, where it was a bit of a very different story. So take us back to what you were like, maybe it was 10 years ago, and then we can kind of come through how you kind of got to this point where you're shaving 14 minutes off your marathon time, and we'll come into all the other things that you've been doing as well.
So when I was mid-20s, I had just left the Navy to go into nursing. When I left the Navy, I wasn't exactly very happy. And I mean, I wasn't happy really in the Navy with my job as a chef. So I left, and as many people do, I turned to food and alcohol and, you know, generally not looking after myself at all. And it got to the stage where I got to about 15.5 stone. And I had no real inclination to actually change that. I was in this kind of spiral of, you know, self-pity, essentially. Very much the world is happening to me and I'm not happening to the world. So when 2014 came around, where I was 25, I looked online for someone who could help me because I thought I need to just sort this out.
What was the enough is enough point for you? What made you realise, like, this is not where I want to be?
I know it sounds a bit cliche, but actually it was to do with a photograph that was taken. What a family friend had a baby. We went up to see the baby, holding the baby. This photograph, I looked back at it and I was like, oh my giddy aunt, like, this is not... And at this point I was so out of breath. Even going up like a set of stairs, I was out of breath. And I just thought to myself, I'm a young person. Like, I should not be out of breath doing this. So there was that. And there was also the fact that I had just got into roller derby. And roller derby is very intense. You need a lot of strength and a lot of stamina to do it. It's on quad roller skates. It's quite violent, actually.
So is that just racing, is it?
No, it's
And I've seen your photos of it when you used to do it.
It's an oval track, and essentially you're on these quad roller skates, and there are 2 teams, and your jammer is like the ball.
Okay.
So there are no balls involved. Just your jammer from each team has to get through the pack, but you can just like smash people off the track.
Oh, right.
You smash other people's blockers off the track so that your jammer can get through. Like, there is not one bout where someone doesn't break an ankle or a wrist.
Wow, okay.
Or their head or something. You know, we always had to stop.
Injuries are high then.
Yeah. So I'd got into that, and my partner at the time, we were both like relatively overweight. In fact, we were just really overweight.
Yeah. So that was the environment you were in then.
Yeah. But the perspective... Like, you don't have a perspective on it until you actually start to shed pounds and things, or until you start to feel better. You don't actually... It's almost like you're in a bit of denial, because you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not that big. I'm not that out of breath. You know, I don't eat that much. Well, actually, you for the most part, you are, or at least I was. And so was my ex.
Do you reckon it's like a bit of like rose-tinted glasses kind of thing? You're just not seeing how bad the situation actually is.
I think you just don't want to kind of...
Don't want to acknowledge it.
It's
like someone who's crap with their money doesn't want to look at the bank account.
Yeah, exactly. You bury your head in the sand and you keep going. But the thing is, one 4,000 calorie meal does not make you 15.5 stone, and one workout does not make you 10 stone. Like, it comes on slowly and gradually, and it's very much connected to mental health and things like that, I think, as well. It's very much connected to self-soothing and to denial, and just in general, like, not... There's just this kind of almost like self-destructive aspect to it. So I started actually on my own. So this was actually before I even looked for that coach. I started on my own and started by went on Weight Watchers, which I don't really agree with it now too much. I mean, I think if it works for you, it can work for you. But went on Weight Watchers at the time and started jogging. But I mean, literally, I was jogging for like a minute a day and doing 10 squats. And I still wasn't getting very many steps. I don't even think I had a pedometer or anything. No Fitbits, nothing like that. And then I just built on it. I just kept building on it. And in the end, I remember thinking, well, I can now run for 10 minutes, so I'm just going to try a bit more. Eventually I ran my first 5k. Yeah, so I did that in 33 minutes. I remember exactly, I did it in 33 minutes, dead on. Which then spurred me on to go for park run in Norwich.
Yeah.
Which then I got to about 27 minutes on park run, and then with the combination of that, the roller derby, the Weight Watchers, like it all started to come down.
Yeah.
I dropped actually quite a lot of weight, but then I put weight back on. So I dropped a lot of weight, moved to Bury St Edmunds, and then in Bury I was very happy. So it was kind of the opposite. So then I was really happy. I was still running, but I really wasn't watching what I was eating and trying to do my first job as a nurse and so on and so forth. And these things kind of slip, don't they? If you're not on it, if you're not on the ball, they slip. So it slipped. Went to the Navy again, did my Navy training, went from, I think I was like 13 stone at that point, dropped down to 10, but like very quickly and not really in a healthy way. And then once I got out of training, went back up to I think it was 84 kilos when I started with you.
Yes.
So in between all that, I'd sort of looked for this like fitness coach, and I'd found him, and he was really good, but it got to the point where he'd put me on like 1,240 calories a day, and I just wasn't maintaining it, and it looked to me like it was for people who just wanted like six packs and basically the aesthetics of it. And I was at a stage where I just couldn't live on 1,240 calories a day.
No one can.
No.
Like, I think you said it off camera. It was like, that's for a child. Like a
1,000 yeah.
1,200 calorie diet, unless you're like a 4-foot woman or man, whatever.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Unless
4-foot person.
Yeah, unless you're 3'9" and like
your activity is like bare minimum
34 kilos.
Don't bother following a 1,200 calorie diet.
Exactly. It just feels like it's not majorly healthy to be in that much of a deficit.
No.
So then obviously we started working together.
Yes.
And
What a ride it's been.
Never look back.
Yeah, it's going good. Right. So what kind of things then have you noticed have changed for you in this kind of 10-year span with your relationship to health and fitness, or your kind of, relationship with yourself and your body?
So I've started very much being more self-reliant, being more accountable to myself, facing up to things that are hard, like being more accountable, because when you stick your head in the sand, it's nice, it's soothing at the time, but is it actually going to help you?
Yeah.
So now when I don't even think of it as making a mistake. I just think, I've let that slip a bit. What I'll do is the next day, I'll just start again, because we've got our whole lives. And, with my body and things like that, I just think when I started with you, it was all about aesthetics for ages. Aesthetics. It's not really hugely about aesthetics anymore. Like, I think that when you mature a bit, you start to realise that your goals are more than just being skinny.
How do you want to look, yeah?
You want to be functional, and you want to be able to achieve things.
Yeah.
I mean, some people really just want to be skinny or whatever. But I think for me personally, it's all about becoming more functional. And don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of aesthetics. I'm not completely, humble and modest.
You'd be a liar to say that people, someone didn't want to work on how they looked. Like everyone has some ideals they like to work towards. You'd be a liar to say you weren't, or if work towards or maintain. But for you, and for me as well, I relate to this, is you're not putting too much pressure on it because you're comfortable and confident with how you are. You can work on your aesthetics, but you also like to see, like you said, that performance development, that functionality as well. Like that's, I think aesthetics is like watching paint dry. It takes time. it can be quite
Yeah.
boring if you're just looking at the scales each day. You're just looking at the photos changing. It's a long process. So that's why it's nice to kind of break it up with like, you know, stuff like this.
Yeah,
Running,
exactly.
go and doing park runs. Is the weight going up on your bench press, your squats, your deadlifts? You know, are you able to do more monkey bars, jump further? Like those things you can like see all the time, and it makes it fun. And then so that's like getting all these wins up here, and then underneath
Exactly.
like the aesthetics is just doing its thing.
And also, coming to terms or getting to grips with the fact that when you have a specific focus for a specific sport,
Yeah,
your body is going to change.
100%.
And those changes, you know, you've just got to kind of accept them for what they are, but know that as soon as you switch your focus back, you're going to start seeing you're going to start seeing your body go back the way that it was.
Yeah,
So it's just all about understanding that just because you haven't, or just because you feel like you've lost some shape or, you know, become skinny or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're never going to be back to where you were, and also doesn't have to be a bad thing, because you're losing that shape, but what you're doing is you're gaining in your performance.
Yeah.
in other things, other aspects.
yeah, because that's what we've noticed with you. So obviously the initial phase was like that weight loss from the 84 kilos down to what was the lowest? Like, did we get into the 50s or 60?
67 kilos, I think.
Yeah,
Something like
it
that.
was something like that.
I've never been like very, very low. Like
No,
very, very, very
it
low.
was
But
nearly pretty much like 20 kilos down. I think I remember at one point.
we were, yeah.
We were pretty much 20 kilos down.
Yeah.
And obviously that was the main focus. A lot of strength training and that behind it, but that was a lot on looks. So you were getting, you know, a lot more tone. You could see your definition
Yeah.
a lot more. And that was, you exceeded through that. And then the focus changed to like, right, running your Spartan events and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So then, right, aesthetics was like more of a back burner kind of thing. But we then just had to accept, right, you're doing all this running now. Weight training's going to have to take a little bit of a back seat a little
Yeah.
bit. Maybe it took too much of a back seat.
Sad
We
times.
learned from this. I think we've definitely learned from this. Maybe it took too much of a back seat. But, you know, it's aided to your running performance massively. Maybe we could have kept a little bit more in there anyway. But that's, you know, we learn from these
Exactly.
things. We learn from these things.
Lifelong process.
So then you know, so what did you notice then in yourself? What were the changes because of that?
What, in terms of like mentally?
Or how you look and stuff
Or-
like. Obviously, we were now sacrificing
Yes.
only a little bit of looks.
Yeah.
Just like you are literally, you know, all you got to do is go get a bit of a pump on, and you'd be similar
yeah.
to photos and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
You know, that's literally it.
I think
But you
that-
sacrificed that little bit of looks.
I think the change was feeling a bit like skinnier up top, as in, like, my shoulders have always been quite defined. I've always had reasonably good, like, boulder shoulders, and my traps and things like that. So I think noticing that they weren't always, you know,
Popping as much.
popping,
Yeah.
that was kind of where I got a bit concerned, and I was like, oh dear, like, I've lost everything. And don't get me wrong, I've lost a lot of strength. I mean, but I've got the confidence that I'll get it back, because I just will. And it's not a rush. It doesn't have to be a rush. It just has to be done methodically and in a way that is not going to, like, damage me. Or, you know, be detrimental to my mental health.
Yeah.
And it's the same with everybody, right? So slow, gradual changes tend to be the ones that stick, and also tend to be the ones that give you the confidence that you're going to be able to get them back.
Yeah. I mean, all you've pretty much done recently is you got these dials in front of you. You've just turned the dial down for the weight training a little bit, so the performance wasn't, you know, going up there. But you also turned the dial up for the running. So running performance has gone through the roof massively.
Oh, 100%.
As we've known, we're now at a point right now where we're gonna hold that running.
Yeah.
And I've had strong words with Rebecca about this. hold the running 2 days a week minimum. I'm gonna remind you that, unless there's other fun runs, and then we're gonna crank up the gym
Yeah.
stuff again. But that's like, it's like me with the jiu-jitsu, and accepting that, like, all right, maybe I won't be popping all the time like when I was doing more bodybuilding stuff, but the bodybuilding stuff there's a little bit there, and now I've got a lot of performance stuff in the jiu-jitsu. But guess what? My jiu-jitsu is really good. The bodybuilding side, well, I still feel I look good. Maybe I don't pop as much as I used to, but I'm focused on jiu-jitsu. Like,
Exactly.
with you, focusing on running. That's just it. It's difficult to juggle, be a master of all of them, but you can be decent at quite a lot of them and have one that's really good.
Yeah.
And that's literally where you're at. I'm looking to kind of make that shift with the training. So you've obviously become over, let's say, the last few months, really recently inspired with the training and the progress you've made, and you're now in a position where you wanted to help others.
Yes.
When did you have those? Because I remember having those conversations last year about it, but when did this start coming into fruition?
So over Christmas, I just thought to myself, I'll just see, like, are there any PT courses, you know? Because I always thought that the PT courses, you had to kind of do them in person, you had to go into the gym and do stuff like that and work in the gym for months and all this stuff. And I just thought, I'll just look online. And I did. And I found one that, you know, the Navy would sort of subsidise. So I thought, well, why not do that?
Yeah.
Just everything else was a pipe dream. Just why not do that? And then when I was sort of in the middle of doing it, I thought, why don't I just start coaching people? Like, why don't I just start building a business? Because I really like this. You know, I really like to go out running with people and to inspire other people, and to help them with things that they ask me about. So I just did. So I've just started setting up a business now. So I'll finish my PT course hopefully soon, in the next couple of months, and away I go, and hopefully get some people that I can help.
Yeah. It's good to see, like, I don't know if I've ever told you this actually. You are what's the name? I gave it a name once, but you're pretty much one of the clients. For those who don't know, Rebecca's been working. How long are we doing it online now?
2 years.
Yeah, it's flown by.
It's literally been 2 years.
Yeah, it's flown by.
Today.
God, get out of my life. But so you are one of my clients that I would say that, like, if I'm setting up an event, a challenge, or need some motivation, or someone's asked a question in the chat, I know Rebecca's there. I know you're there. I know you've got my back. I know, you know, I trust you to answer a question and stuff for that. I've got a handful of people like yourself.
Yeah.
But I did come up with a name for it once. But you are that kind of client, and it's fantastic. Nice. Because it just shows that how much you care about it as well, and how much enjoyment you've got from working on yourself, and how much it's changed your lives, that you now want to see that in others. And I've had a few clients who've gone and looked at the PT role as well. I've got another gentleman who's doing it slowly in the background. And I had another lady a few years ago do it well herself, because you get to that point, as I did with my health and fitness, like, this feels so good for me. I want other people to feel this way as well.
Yeah.
And so it's funny because, like, you know, someone will ask a question in the group chat, you'll reply before me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sorry about that.
No. Hey, guess what? It makes it easier for me.
Oh,
I'm like, so and so would be like, Kelly asks a question, and then before I can even get to it, Rebecca's like, do this. I'm like, I mean, because you would have asked me that kind of question a year or so ago.
Yeah.
You've just regurgitated what I've said, and you just put it in your own words.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's going to be doing this herself eventually. And it's good because you start to see it come through. And that, do you know how helpful that is for me? It's amazing. It's so helpful because I could literally be there midday and I could see all these messages go through a chat, and I could be like, oh, Rebecca's on it. Obviously I'll eventually get to it myself, but like, Rebecca's damaging control it for me. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate that. But also just how you are as well when we come together for the park runs. I know you've done a few of the walks and stuff for that. You are like so inspiring and for other people, and you just like naturally want to drive them to do better, like you in your relationship with Ruby, or when you with Tristan carrying the bag and stuff like that. Just, you know, what you kind of put out there to get other people to do it as well. It's like, come on. It's good. Yeah. And it just shows that you can see how much you've benefited from it, that you're just like passionate to want other people to kind of get that same thing as well. So I'm excited to kind of see your kind of journey through it as well, because it's gonna be a thing. I think you'll be like a natural, because my concern with people who get into PT from being in the gym is people see it as like, they don't look at it as the same way you do. You genuinely are passionate about it and want people to feel that way. Whereas some people, it's like, oh, I can train, I'll help other people train. Whereas you know it's a lot more than just training.
Yeah.
It's called personal training. You can literally throw the word training out the window, and you need to focus on the personal bit. And I know you get that. We get some people who just jump into the industry because they like going to the gym. There's one thing training yourself. There's another thing having to train other people. I hardly train a single person or coach a single person how I do it myself on myself. It's nothing to do, even yourself or anything like that. It's not how I coach.
Yeah.
I coach very different to how I change myself. So it's like, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. So that is, I know you've got that there, and I can see you've got that there, because the way you will communicate to someone is you can see you're trying to speak their language. You're not just doing it in your way. Like you'll get like, maybe I've worked with coaches in the past, but you get someone who is so stuck in a way that they're speaking English, but someone else, you need to speak it in French.
Yes.
You know, you need to speak their language so they can get it, and you kind of come to people on that level quite naturally. For one, well, maybe it's through all your experience of everything else you've done in your job and your career and stuff like that, and you manage to catch people on the levels. And I think the big thing is just how you've inspired a few of my clients to do it. Like, you may not see all of them that say it, but again, Ruby's a big example that you've got a good relationship with.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, she probably wouldn't be doing that as much if you weren't kicking her up the ass a bit about it as well. Like, she's really come on. And that's just one example of someone you actually have a relationship with.
I am on her.
Good.
I'm on her.
Good.
Like stink.
Ruby, we want a sub 2 hour half marathon.
Sub
right?
2 hours. We're gonna smash it together.
Ruby, you need to beat me. You will beat me. She's gonna smash it.
She
I
is.
just want to get everyone to pass it, stuff like that. But when you think about your self coaching, then, okay, you're obviously gonna start. You're gonna do it obviously alongside your job. And what was the kind of people you said you were looking to work with yourself? You said to me the other day earlier.
I think I want to. Well, no, I don't think. I know.
You know.
I know I want to work with people who have had that level of fitness in the past and who feel like it's kind of gone out the window a bit.
Yeah.
Essentially, anyone who has, for whatever reason, life has come in. Maybe they've had kids. Maybe they've, I don't know, got a new job, or just life has come in. Lockdown.
Lockdown. If you're still saying lockdown fucked me up, it's not lockdown anymore.
No.
That was 4 years ago now.
It's been a while.
Get a new excuse.
but basically, I want to work with people who, for whatever reason, as we were saying, lockdown. Lockdown. I mean, that might be a bit of a stretch. But like children or new job. Basically, we all let it slip. Every now and then, we all let it slip. And like I said earlier on, one 4,000 calorie meal is not going to give you 3 stone in weight, but one workout is also not going to drop you 3 stone or build you 3 stone of muscle, you know. Yeah. And so we all slip, and it's just about getting that discipline and accountability back. And people who have been on it in the past, you know, I want to help them realise that they can, like, that it, even though it's a daunting prospect, that it's going to be easier for them to actually get back to that baseline level of not only fitness, but also discipline and accountability to themselves. Because when you become accountable to yourself, your self-belief and your self-confidence is going to be so much stronger. It translates into every other aspect of your life. You know, if you can keep your promises to yourself, that's one of the most powerful things. Self-reliance is one of the most powerful things, and it not only affects your success in other areas, but it also affects your success with people and in relationships. And obviously we are, as human beings, all about communication, and we're all about, you know, we get ahead by being who we are and communicating in our own way. And we can communicate so much more confidently if we're self-reliant. Yeah. So the more we show up for ourselves, the better we're going to be at showing up for other people. So if you have kids, the better you're going to be for showing up. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So what are the main things you've seen with your own self-reliance then for you?
I think that...
What effect has that had?
When we first started together, I was getting back to the stage where the world is happening to me. I was trying, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people out there who are trying, but they're just not quite hitting all the boxes they need to be hitting in order to get the results they want. Yeah. And just simply by having that little boot up the butt with the accountability challenge with regards to, I was a bit scared that you'd be looking that I'd done all the steps, eaten the calories, the protein, you know, drank the water I was meant to drink, all that stuff. You know, it started making me show up more for myself.
Yeah.
And it gave me more of a purpose. And, you know, I've always been a bit of a maniac when it comes to challenges. I've always been a bit like...
Doesn't show.
I've always been a bit extreme. So it just really gave me the confidence, the self-reliance and the self-belief to know that whatever I put my mind to, I would be able to accomplish.
Yeah.
And also that I would be able to keep going regardless. So I would be able to complete things even if I didn't do them as fast as I would like to, or if I had setbacks during them, I would still keep going because it gave me belief in myself.
Yeah.
Because I kept my promises to myself. And so I just want other people to, you know, find the power of keeping promises to themselves. And I think that it will help them in all areas of their lives.
Yeah, because tough challenges, no matter physical, mental, whatever it is, like emotional, spiritual, tough challenges shape you no matter what. Like, again, it doesn't
Absolutely.
have, it could be a tough challenge where you have to run a marathon, or tough challenges where you have to make a tough decision in a relationship or something like that, or with a job. Those tough challenges will shape you. If you do the things that you're afraid of, you do the things that you're initially scared of, you show up for yourself and put yourself first and push yourself out of that comfort zone for what you thought you previously could do, again, whether physical, mental, or anything like that, it's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you want to show up more for yourself, make you more confident, make you able to do all those things. So yeah, it's good to hear that you kind of want to find the people that maybe previously had a little bit of that little bit of spark.
Yeah.
The spark's kind of gone out a little bit. And you want to help bring it back.
Exactly. Got to reignite that spark.
Reignite the spark. That could be a
Yeah.
little tagline for your fitness and stuff like that.
So yeah, I think those are the people who are probably going to be feeling the worst about things. And when I say, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically, I'm trying to say that those people are going to be the ones that are feeling like they've let themselves down.
Oh, 100%.
And
because they've stopped doing the stuff that they said they would do or they wanted to do. And
so I know from personal experience, when you stop keeping your promises to yourself, self-esteem just goes, So to help them get that back, I just think it would be amazing to see people developing and stuff. Yeah. And that'll kind of be the reward for me, you know, to see people developing. And
what do you think about the people who get in that rut? So you get the people that are like, I can't do that because I'm lazy. Oh, it's just not me. You know, oh, I'll naturally fail that. You know, I'm someone who picks things up and puts them down again. They start naturally labeling themselves these things. And I was having this conversation with a client the other day who said something like this. And I'm like, you're only saying that so you don't feel as bad when or if you do stop doing it.
It's a cop-out, isn't it?
It is 100% a cop-out.
It's a cop-out. There are no excuses. Right? There are no excuses. So if you are able to move your body in a way that, you know, that's going to be enjoyable, etc., and you are able to count.
Count.
Yes.
I can't count.
1, 2, 7, 12.
Add 3.
And 3.
And 3 more.
3, yeah.
Have you done 3 more yet? Now 5 more. And my clients are like, I can't do any more.
Essentially, I think that the people who are labelling themselves like that are trying to give themselves an excuse to stop. And I think that their self-confidence can't be very high. And that they need to feel empowered to do things. So even if you come down to where they are at that time and you gradually build them up and you give them little things to do where they think, never thought I could do that. You know, never thought I could do that. Never thought I could achieve that. Eventually it's going to get to the stage where they can believe that they're going to be able to do the things that they said, oh, I'm just naturally someone who just doesn't do that. Oh, I just always quit because I'm lazy.
Yeah. But we've all had those moments though.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all been there.
Literally for like most of my life.
So what would be your advice? What would you say to someone? You had a new client in front of you and they're saying those things. What are you telling them?
I would firstly say that that for them to say that, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'd firstly say, what's your evidence that you're lazy, or what's your evidence that you can't do it? And then secondly, I would talk to them about small things that they can do. And, what's something that they want to achieve? Not do you think you can achieve it? No, what's something you want to achieve? And then I would help them any way possible to achieve it. And let's face it, if they're coming to you, they want accountability. I'm not going to be harsh about it, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give them, we're going to discuss together and we're going to have small achievable steps so that every time they achieve the next step, they feel better about themselves.
Little wins.
Yep, little wins, and they all build up. Look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves, right?
Look at that. She's already creating her own analogies. That's the PT thing, analogies. If you can create analogies, you'll be a fantastic PT. It's as many as you can kind of come up with. Okay, so you're talking back to your old self, 25. You obviously have made this progress to get to where you are now. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've obviously there was certain hurdles, things you've gone on the way. So your lessons that you've learned through the last, let's say, decade. What is there any bits that come to mind, parts of wisdom you'd pass down to yourself at 25? To have made that process even, smoother.
Try not to make excuses for yourself. Alcohol's not the be all and end all. Drink more water. And essentially try to believe a little bit more in yourself. Have a little bit more faith. I know it's hard, but you can achieve amazing things. You've just got to start. That's what I'd say to anyone.
Yeah.
I'd say that to anyone. Literally, what you just asked me about people who are making excuses, I'd say you just have to start. We are literally, as human beings, bags of bones and muscle, right? We are the cause of the effect, essentially. So we have to understand that nothing's going to happen if you do nothing, right? So if you do something, that's going to be 1,000,000 times better than not doing anything. Something. Could be walking around the block once a day. Doesn't matter. You're up. You're off your backside. You're out in the fresh air. Mental health feeling better. You're getting a few steps in. So that's probably what I'd say to myself. I'd say, it's no good wallowing and moping because you're going to get nothing done. And then it's all just going to keep going and going and going.
Something's better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. Always.
Something I always like to say to people in an initial consultation is talk about what they want to achieve and how they would feel if they got there. So let's say we had a goal that was in a year's time or something like that, and it was a weight loss goal. But then I also like to talk about the back end of that is okay, but then how do you feel if you're in the same place a year from now?
Yeah.
Because what that does, it gets them thinking, I will probably still feel like shit if I don't do this. But I could feel good. Yes, it's going to take some graft. It's going to take some hard work. It's going to take, effort.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, the effort to get to where I want to be and feel good. Or, I could still feel like shit in a year's time. So it's that continual reminder that this feeling could still be there.
Yeah.
How different do you think your life would be if you were exactly as you were at 25 now?
I don't even want to think about it.
Do you think you'd be happy in work?
No.
Do you think you'd even be where you are with work?
I wouldn't be where I am with work because I wouldn't have kept my promises to myself, and therefore I would not have had the self-belief or the drive to be where I am professionally for a start. And I think I would probably be 30 stone at this point. I'm not even joking. I'm not even exaggerating. I would be.
If we were just like extrapolating like the habits that you had previously.
And I'd be an alcoholic.
Oh no.
So and I'd be very dehydrated and be like an alcoholic 30-stone prune. No, but seriously, I would not.
Do you think you'd be in the relationship you're in now?
No, I don't. I genuinely believe that taking a few steps, finding something that you're a bit passionate about, that requires a little bit of energy, that's got a little bit of physicality to it, is almost like you've got. I always say this anyway, and everyone says this. You got to find your why. You got to find your reason why. If your reason why isn't strong enough, you're never going to make the changes.
Yeah.
Because your reason why isn't strong enough, and the impetus isn't on you to do it, right? So find a good reason why for a start. Roller derby, etc. That was my reason why. It was a good reason why at the time. And just generally, yeah, I just can't even imagine what it would be like if I hadn't made changes. I don't want other people to be sitting there for a decade not making changes when they could be enjoying their life. If you enjoy drinking, etc., that's fine. But if you just
don't let it be a reason it takes away from certain aspects of your life.
Exactly.
Drink, drugs, whatever, sweet, whatever your vice is.
Yeah.
But don't let it be the reason you look back or look forward and there's things you can't do.
Exactly.
It stops you.
You're
back.
You're only getting older. That's the thing. I know that sounds really depressing, doesn't it? But
death and taxes.
People are only right.
Guaranteed.
So people are only getting older. We after the age of 40, we lose muscle mass. Every single year we lose muscle mass till we get to the stage where old people can't get out of their chairs in their nursing home because they just don't have the abdominal strength. It's like if you choose, and again another like cliche, another thing that people say, it's like choose your hard. So yes, it's hard to get up off the couch, it's hard to go to the gym, it's hard to, I don't know, not have that like third bit of cake or something. But is it as hard as not being able to pick your grandkids up, or not being able to go and enjoy a walk with your family, or go up a set of stairs, do things that you like doing? So choose your hard, decide, do you want to be immobile, potentially quite ill because of the dietary choices you're making, and generally a little bit miserable, or do you want to be active well into your old age? Because
you can.
Exactly.
You can be active till the day you...
Be taking full advantage of every opportunity that life gives you. Like, wouldn't you rather do that? Wouldn't you rather have fun with your family and enjoy your life rather than being ill and having to take a load of pills and not be able to get up the stairs?
Hey, but for some people, just accepting that's easy, isn't it? So why the hell not? Me and Lauren were people watching in a restaurant the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And to get to the restaurant, there was a spiral staircase from the bar. Maybe 50 steps to the top. Easy. But we're watching some people come up it and they're like practically dying at the top of it. I'm like, this is just a bar to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Imagine if there's a fire, you have to get out.
Don't. Yeah.
Like, these kind of things, just like, you can't get up those stairs. Yeah. That's got to be enough of a wake-up call. But for some people, it's not. Some people, it really... Like, your wake-up call was early enough for you to really make a nice, quick turnaround without it really being detrimental to your health. It was a photo for you.
Yeah.
But for some people, they can see 10,000 photos and it does nothing. Some people, it gets to the point where it's like, they've maybe had 1, 2, 3 heart attacks. They're nearly dying. They're like, maybe I should do something. No, definitely, motherfucker, you should be doing something. You should have been doing something a long time ago. You need to hope that they invent time travel, that they can go back. Some people, it's too late. Yeah. And a good analogy I think a lot of people can relate to is relationships. Some people are really good at pulling the plug on a relationship and getting out of it when they know they need it to. I've not been amazing at that. Sometimes I've been in relationships that have been longer than I should have been in them. But you learn anyway. And some people are like, I've been here way too long If you can relate to that, that's the same thing for health and fitness. You've been there. You need to step away and learn from it and start taking some action. Health and fitness, you're like, right, stop just accepting what's happening to you.
Exactly.
Stop being a bystander.
And that's another thing. So yeah, I say choose your hard, right? But also we are like creatures of habit, and we take the easiest route. So if you were walking along a path, right, and there you had to get to point B and it was diagonally across the field, would you A, walk all the way around the path, or would you B, walk across the field, right? Well, you'd walk across the field because from point A to point B, it's going to be faster. We like to have our little instant gratification.
Yeah.
We like that, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is that, yes, you choose your hard, but you make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
You literally make it so easy that you're practically being lazy. So you fill up your water bottle before you go to bed so that you've got a full water bottle when you wake up. So that when you wake up, you don't have to go and turn the tap on. Like, it's literally goes right down. It's granular. You put your clothes out the night before for the gym, or pack your bag the night before. You meal prep. You do anything you can to make it so that you don't have to think.
Yeah.
You have
just go through it.
Exactly.
Do it.
No decision fatigue.
Exactly.
Plan it out. I will work out on these days. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no decision fatigue because you know you're working out on those days.
Yeah. You know the workout, you know the routine, you know
Yep.
where you're going, you know,
Exactly.
you know what time, you know what you're wearing.
Yep.
Don't be too fancy with your gym clothes.
Yep.
Just
Chuck
just
it on.
literally just pick it up, grab it. All my clothes are pretty much merch. You know, that's literally what I live in. I just can grab a t-shirt, I can go, don't need to think about it.
Exactly.
Meal prep's all done. Workouts are all booked in.
That's another thing, right? That's another thing I wanted to discuss was at the very beginning, like, I think everybody thinks they need these, like, all of these supplements, and they need, you know, I used to be a pre-workout, you know, fiend,
I used
basically.
to pre-workout, yeah.
Pre-workout.
I say pre-workout
like
like 11 o'clock at night. Just like
all sorts of stuff.
training all night.
But now it's like, chuck your clothes on.
Yeah.
If you need to, have a banana or a Squares bar, like beforehand, or middle, or at the end of it. Drink loads of water. Get some good sleep.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Here's another analogy, PT analogy.
Go on.
Your health and fitness, think of a pyramid, right? The important stuff is all that base.
Yeah.
All the main bit of the base, the foundations, that's what you need to be focused on. But people focus on the little bit at the top. Supplementation, meal timing, what do I need to wear? You know, exact periodization of a workout. Fucking spell me periodization, I don't know. You know, all these little things that like stress themselves out. And they think about, you know, I haven't had the exact amount of sleep. But sometimes you just turn up, just put in the work. Bare basics. Just work. Just do it. Something will come from it. Fine tune it along the way.
That's the discipline aspect, though.
Yeah.
Discipline is doing something that you don't want to do. You know, it's
Just
literally
continue.
doing it, regardless. So, I think it's like Mel Robbins. She's really good. She does this thing where it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you have to move, because she says that movement is basically like the antidote to being stuck thinking about, well, do I get up, do I not, blah blah blah. So she goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out of bed, and she just does it, right? So
Just create that habit.
yeah, so just the whole discipline aspect, you've just got to think, I don't care how I feel, I don't care how much sleep I've had, I genuinely don't care, right? I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Regardless of how I feel, because as soon as you start moving, the way you're feeling tends to go away 90% of the time.
100%, yeah.
The little 10% where you're actually genuinely poorly, like, you can get there, you can start going and you can think, oh my God, like, I'm so weak and I am so sick. And then you think to yourself, maybe I'll just sit this one out. But you've got yourself there. And simply by getting yourself there, you are keeping that habit going in your mind. So like James Clear, for instance, Atomic Habits, he says that what you want to do when you're forming a habit, for instance, say you want to go to the gym, you're going to go to the gym, but you're only going to allow yourself to be there for 5 minutes. So you're going to get your gym kit on and you're going to go to the gym every single day for 5 minutes. You will not allow yourself to stay any longer than that, right? For weeks. You just go in, do in 5 minutes and leave him. And eventually he'll say, like he said that you think, oh, right, well, actually, I do want to do a bit more.
Yeah.
So you start staying a bit longer and a bit longer and a bit longer. And eventually you're doing your gym workouts and it's in a habit. And so that's what he says about habits and how you can like form them in a way that's sustainable. And that's exactly what health and fitness is. You've just got to add little bits, keep adding little bits, keep going, till eventually you're doing things. And another thing, we've spoken about this a million times, but basically,
do 1,000,001.
It's about your consistency, right? You don't have to tick every box every single day.
Not at all.
Because I think you'd be putting way too much stress on yourself. We're all human beings. To be honest, one day you could tick no boxes.
Yeah.
Just don't miss twice. Just do not miss twice. So if you miss your steps one day, think to yourself, next day, I will make my steps. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to go and smash 50,000 steps in a day because you've missed 2,000 steps the day before. All you have to do is hit your goals for that next day. Because again, one 4,000 calorie meal does not put 3 stone on you.
Yeah.
Missing 2,000 steps one day will not do anything. Missing 2,000 steps every day will do something.
Yeah.
Doing 50,000 steps every day will do something. So it's all about just moderation and making sure that you tick the majority of the boxes.
Yeah, do it the majority of the time.
I think it's something like 10% or 20% of the boxes. If you ticked those, you would still see progress. You'd still see changes.
You just think about your food a little bit. Think about your training a little bit. I say to clients, just go into the gym, do something.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just going in and going on a treadmill, and then you might be like, oh, that machine's free, I might do that now. Next time I might add something else. If you are going from doing nothing to doing one workout a month, fantastic. That's 100% increase of the month.
Exactly.
Amazing. Imagine if you get that return on your money. You know, it's better than nothing. So it's like little steps, build it up. You get, like you said, this is you the other day. You're like, right, transitioning from the marathon. I'm thinking I might do 6 days a week training now. Now, your excitement to get into it is good.
Yeah.
I get it. But you haven't been doing 6 days a week training in a while. No. But we get the excitement. That's a very different thing. But again, just build it back up. Like, I'm bringing in certain aspects of my training that I haven't done in a while. I'm not going to go straight to 100%. It's like the revs on a car, just a little bit. If you redline it, you crash. Just a little bit. And then when you're ready to change gear, build it up again.
Yeah.
These analogies go on and on, but we could keep adding them. But yeah, it's the steps on a ladder. It's just one analogy into another.
You've just got to make sure you don't end up in crutches. You know what I mean? You've just got to make sure that you're doing things at a, like I said, like on the video that I made. You've got to make sure that you're providing adequate stimulus. Any adequate stimulus will do, as long as it's overloading your muscles to some extent.
Yeah.
But you don't want to ruin yourself. You don't want to write yourself off, do you? Yeah. You don't want to have DOMs for like a week, because then you've gone too far. And then you're going to put yourself off. Again, make it easy. Make it easy, make it enjoyable. Do little bits. Just do little bits. 1% progress is still 1% progress.
Yeah.
Keep going. And it will spur you on to then do more and more. And eventually
yes, consistency. And as long as you know over time you're continuing to push things forward.
Yeah. Like,
yes, it can get to a point where you can stagnate at a certain period, but we want to make sure you're continuing to just every now and then, you just, that extra 1%, pushing things so you know you're progressing. That's enough. Yeah. That's enough of what you need.
Yeah.
Amazing. How have you found this?
Yeah. It's been all right.
Natural.
Been good.
Absolute natural. So Rebecca has started her own Instagram for her personal training stuff. What's the RD Fit PT, was it? At R David PT. I'll put it. Yeah. YouTube, I'll put it below. Spotify, I'll put it below.
Fab.
Amazing. You're going to be putting some good content there. Nice to see.
Cheers.
Anything else you want to say while we're
here? No, thanks for listening.
Yeah, so cheesy. Thank you. Boom. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.